I'm honored that you take the time to listen. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about who I am and my background. I was born in Northwest Indiana, raised in Africa, and then I've lived in Indiana, Maryland, California, Ohio, and Oregon in the last 18 years. So that's kind of my life in a nutshell. I was raised independent fundamental Baptist, which is a very conservative kind of sect of the Baptist movement. I was raised in a wonderful home. My home was pretty much drama-free for the most part. Every family has their drama, right? My parents love each other very, very much, and they loved us. They did a great job. My parents are still missionaries in Nigeria, where I grew up, in Africa, in West Africa. I've got many, many friends there. I left when I was 18, and it's now been 17 and a half years since I left for college. 35 years old, so I think I did that math right. But I was also homeschooled, so, cut me some slack. I'm the oldest of 5 siblings. I am married to my wonderful wife, Jennifer. We have 2 boys, Russell and Max, and 1 baby on the way that's due in just a few months. And we have not picked out a name yet. We can't decide on a name. For me, I wanted to do this podcast or this show or whatever and just kind of share my thoughts about religion, faith, life, parenting, finances, social media, current events, whatever. And I'm just going to be honest. I have a very different experience, having grown up in a different country for the first half of my life. I have a little bit of a different perspective, and that has been a disadvantage to me sometimes and an advantage to me sometimes. So it's not just always an advantage. Something that has always been a constant in my life has been my faith. I am a Christian. I'm no longer Baptist. I'm what you would call a charismatic. I attend Assemblies of God Church. I'm an elder there. My wife and I have been plugged into our church for 2 years in July. And that's also the time that since we moved to Oregon. I'm a prison guard. I work for corrections, the corrections facility in the state of Oregon, and I enjoy my job. I like my job. I like the people I get to work with, my coworkers, and I like the opportunity to maybe be a change or a bright spot in somebody's life who's having a really hard time. And I feel called to ministry. So I feel like that's part of it. My call to ministry has looked very different than I'll be honest with you, than what I thought it would look like. I thought ministry was going to be, me behind a pulpit, a suit and tie. And I thought that since I was 11. When I was 11 years old, I surrendered to preach. I gave my life to the Lord in a deeper way. I got saved when I was 5 in 1996. But in 2002, I decided that I was going to give my life to the Lord. I felt the Lord calling me into ministry. And so I surrendered to that call. And honestly, best thing I've ever done. It was amazing. And it has been amazing. But it has not always looked like I thought it would. I thought it was going to look like me behind a pulpit for a long time. And now I'm realizing that God has called me. And by the way, it may be that. I'm certainly not opposed to that. But in this season of life, it's one-on-one personal ministry with people who I interact with, which I believe is a Christian call, not just John's call. But since I don't speak for every Christian, it's my call. And I have used it and will continue to use every individual opportunity I have to pour light into people. That doesn't mean I go around preaching every time I grab coffee with somebody, and conversations aren't tricks to, convert people. That's not at all what I mean. Yeah, so let's see. I graduated high school in 2009, and then the fall of 2009, I came back to the States and attended Hiles-Anderson College in Crown Point, Indiana. I was very excited to go to college because it was a seminary, and I knew I wanted to go into ministry. And so that period of training was something I was really looking forward to. While I was there, I met my wife, who was a music teacher there. She was a graduate student teaching at the college. She was teaching vocal lessons. She was a music major. And so she taught, not music major. She was an education teacher with a minor in music, but she got her degree and her master's in education. But she taught music classes. Very accomplished musician, very talented. And I'm incredibly biased, but it's still objectively true. She was. And so that's how we kind of connected, because I was getting into the music department there and getting involved in music groups, and I wanted some training. And so she ended up being my teacher. which is how we met. And long story short, we've been married for 13 years. So needless to say, I passed the class. I love using that analogy. I love it. People get all weird when I say I married my teacher. Like, I was a 16-year-old and I married a 30-year-old or something. It's not anywhere near that salacious, I promise you. Yeah, that was college. Graduated college and got engaged. Came back to Ohio, tried to get a job at my home church where my family's from. We're all from Ohio, even though I was born in Indiana. We're all from Ohio. And so I wanted to get on staff there at a church. It didn't work out. I got a call from a pastor in Maryland. And so he said, "Hey, I need a music guy." I was like, "Why not? Seems like a great fit." We were there for 7.5 years. Both of our first children were born there. We have lots of friends. Shout out Glen Burnie, Maryland, and Granite Baptist Church and Granite Baptist School, although I think it's Granite Baptist Academy now. And all of our friends in that area, shout out to you guys. You guys are great. We love you. Had a great time there. Had its ups and downs, some struggles. But as we just kind of figured ourselves out in our 20s, I began to realize that the way I was raised was limiting in some ways to me that I saw in Scripture. And so I wrestled with some of those things. And I did not wrestle with those things well, to be completely honest with you. I was just figuring it out. I was trying to figure out, what I was seeing in the Bible and what I was being taught in some ways. A lot of what I was taught was from the Bible and it was accurate, but there were some things that just weren't lining up and I didn't know how to rectify that. I didn't know how to deal with that. And so I stumbled through that while also dealing with my own personal vices. I struggled with addiction in my 20s and I struggled with high levels of anxiety and pressure and expectations that certainly others put on me, but also I had on myself. Some deep-rooted stuff from my childhood that I just hadn't dealt with. And so, that all kind of came to a head during COVID in 2020. I turned 30 that December. We decided we were going to leave Maryland and move as far away as possible. So we did. We moved to Yuba City, California, where I worked for a year with some family, and we made some friends out there, and we had a wonderful time. Shout out to Bar Ale, Tracy, Steven, Joel. You guys are awesome. You probably won't watch this, but shout out to you guys if you do. I have no complaints. I am forever grateful for the opportunities you gave me and the patience you had with me. Stumbling through trying to figure out how to be an adult for the first time, testing my theology and my independence and my kind of figuring out who I was as a man in my 30th year of life. Because I never really had an opportunity to do that. I went from high school to college to work, and you say that's kind of a weird way to phrase that, but hopefully over the next couple episodes, if you stick with it, some of this will make a little bit more sense. The way that I was trained and the way that I limited myself was very much based on formats that were put in place around me, guardrails, they were called oftentimes, to keep you from getting into the world and getting into sin. But unfortunately, not a lot of preparation for real life was offered along the paths of my education, despite having phenomenal educators and well-intentioned people throughout most of my education, from being homeschooled, my parents, shout out to my favorite teacher ever, my mom, and my college professors and teachers as well, certainly. While in California, it was the first time I had ever been in a non-ministry role as my occupation, non-occupational ministry. And so it was a very, very harsh wake-up call for me, spiritually, that my relationship with God was basically non-existent. And so I had to kind of face that reality. And it was rough and terrifying and beautiful all at the same time. And I came out on the other side of it with bumps and bruises, but also a harsh reality check of who God is and a wonderful relationship with him that I'm still working on. And luckily he's patient and he cares even when I stumble through it. So I'm in the process of learning. This is my journey through life. And fast forward, we ended up back in Maryland, tried to make that work again. It blew up in our faces. We tried to make it work for a little bit. So after we left California, so we're like, okay, well, we moved to Ohio. We were there in a wonderful church. Shout out to the Father's House. Shout out to Jared and Candace and Ken and Candace and Dustin and Rusty and Aaron and Gabriella and all of our friends and people there. And I'm so sorry. I know I just left some names out. Shout out to Josh and his family. You guys are awesome. We love you so much. What a beautiful period it was for us to be in Ohio for those 2 years at the Father's House in Westchester, Ohio. Just a phenomenal church. I would recommend that church to anybody in a heartbeat. There's a large part of me that will forever still be there. My heart is in Westchester, Ohio. Wonderful, small but powerful place that God is doing miraculous things and did miraculous things in our lives from 2022 and 2023. And then we moved to Oregon. God opened a door for us and we moved here. This next chapter, and we've been here for 2 years. We're plugged into our church, a wonderful, thriving church. We absolutely love our family at the Father's House. God is doing some incredible things. God has reshaped parts of it, and it's been amazing to see in real time God mold and structure the body as He grows it. And we are so honored to just be whatever part we can be of it. And it's wonderful. I mean, just in just a few hours, I'm going to go to. It's Tuesday. I'm going to go to a Bible studying class, sermon preparation class, where I'm jumping in. Like, I have a degree in theology. I have a bachelor's, and I'm going to jump in and just kind of dig in with both hands and get fed and get blessed and hopefully bless somebody else and train up myself in the way I should go and submit to others. And shout out to Pastor Kristen. Shout out to, the leadership of Living Hope. Pastor Brigham, shout out to Bonnie, shout out to Ben, and everybody, Jerry, and everybody else. Y'all are awesome. We love you guys. We're so excited at this phase in our life that we get to be a part of something like this. And I think this is a good time. I've been a part of other podcasts before. I have co-hosted podcasts, 3 or 4 of them, and then I've done a solo podcast. I did Pardon My Clarity for a couple years, and this is just going to be like a channel where I post on occasion as something comes up that I want to deal with, I want to talk about. So it's going to be less aggressive in that format, but it'll be a lot less structured, as I think maybe you can tell already from this episode. I'm just going to be kind of spitting from the gut here, shooting from the hip. Yeah, I just want to share my thoughts. So maybe I'll get the wife on for a couple episodes. Jennifer she is the iron that sharpens my iron. She is my friend, my confidant. Last night we were both digging deep into some biblical wells of truth at 1:00 in the morning. She's sitting there, bless her heart, 30 weeks pregnant. We're diving in, we're praying, we're crying, we're making jokes, we're laughing, we're discussing, we're just engaged with each other. I'm so thankful to have a life partner who is so intellectually stimulating and who pushes me to reevaluate truths and to broaden my mind and to push deeper into who Jesus is and to get to know Him better. And I'm challenged, I'm encouraged, I'm loved, I'm taken care of. I lucked out. I won the jackpot. I mean, it has nothing to do with luck, but it's just a turn of phrase. It's truth, though, guys. I mean, I'm the happiest person in the world. I love Legos. I don't know if you can tell. I got some Legos up here. There's guys. Let's go off camera for a bit here. This is like Gladiator, best movie ever made. This is my like office area, okay? So we got Legos, right? That's Sauron up there. A bunch of cars. Me and my kids love building Legos. We got a whole bunch behind me too. Sorry, bad camera angle. I probably jacked that up. We're gonna try to set this exactly back the way it was. We'll go with that. We're big into Legos. I recently got a Mustang, which I have wanted since I was 11 years old. I'm super excited. I got it 2 days ago. My kids are excited, and my wife is too. Yeah, she is. She's nervous but excited. Yeah, I love studying the Bible. This isn't just a backdrop for me. I pull into these books frequently. I read these books frequently. I love the Bible. I love the Bible. This podcast is going to be very much a biblically based podcast or a biblically based show or whatever you want to call it. I love studying God's word. I'm a theology nerd, but also I desire to learn from God's word, not just to share them with others, but to learn them for myself, to know God better on a deeper, more personal, more intimate level. I desire that. And I know that is the goal of many Christians. Many Christians want that. Most do. We want to learn. We just don't know how. And I'm going to share how I have the ways I get to know God better, in addition to all the other topics I mentioned that we'll be pushing forward with. So, I'll share what works for me, and it might not work for you, but maybe it can give you some pointers or you open your eyes to some stuff. I've done Bible reading plans. I've done off-the-cuff stuff. I've started from the beginning of Genesis and just tried to just tried to march all the way through in a year. Personal admission, I've never read the entire Bible, Genesis through Revelation, through in one calendar year. That's my goal for 2026. I tried it in 2025, and I did not get as far as I thought. I got stuck in the New Testament, and I just think I need a better plan overall. But I don't think a Bible reading plan necessarily equates to spiritual growth. It's just something I wanted to do since I'd never done it. I did read through the entire New Testament 3 times last year, but I did not read through the whole Bible. So I'm happy with that. I got pretty far on my goal. We'll talk more about that. That'll be like its own podcast episode where we talk about like Bibles and stuff. You might be wondering like, what Bible version do you use? You know, what study methods do you use? What resources do you use when you're studying? What physical Bible do you like? I got a couple here on the back shelf. I don't really have any super expensive Bibles. I guess it depends what you call super expensive. My current Bible is a beautiful Bible I bought for $150. That's the most expensive Bible I've ever owned. I have a page of a 1611 King James Pulpit Bible that cost $150, but it's a 400-year-old like single page giant. It's one of my most prized possessions. Shout out to my wife for buying that for me. On Facebook Marketplace, where you can find anything. You literally can find anything. So, yep, this is just my introduction. Some of you have known me for a long time. Some of you have no idea who I am. Some of you have very, we keep in contact a lot. Some of you are watching this from a skeptical distance because you're like, what's this about? I've kind of seen John's postings and videos from afar. And, I'm just going to be real. This is who I am. I'll just be real. I think that I should do that. I do not think that I am someone special, a voice that needs to be heard, but I believe that what God has done in my life and the way he has shaped me needs to be told. I believe he has given me a mandate to proclaim his truth. I believe he's given me a mantle of ministry. And I believe this is one of the avenues through which I proclaim his truth and his ministry and his kingdom. So that's what I'm about. That's what I'm doing. You guys stay tuned with it.